Now underneath that at the third level is the issue, which is simply the thematic topic of the story. It can be any one of these, but it will fall within wherever you're picking your choices. You're going to come down and say, I want this domain, and under it I want this particular concern, and within that concern I've got a choice of 4 different thematic issues, one of which I need to pick as the specific issue within that concern, the thematic issue that pertains to that concern. Underneath that is the specific problem that grows out of that issue. And there'll be a problem that drives the main character, drives the obstacle character, a problem that causes all the troubles in the overall story for everyone that the characters have to grapple over, the objective characters must grapple over, and in the subjective story. Now, down at this level, we already talked about the problem, solution, focus, and direction, and how those related one to another as disease, cure, symptom, and treatment, and that's true for each of the 4 through lines. So you can see that in the objective story, there'll be those who are trying to treat the symptom and those who are trying to cure the disease. Same thing in the relationship between main and obstacle in the subjective story, and with the main and with the obstacle. Unique ability, critical flaw, catalyst, inhibitor. What are those? Well, catalyst, as I said, is like the accelerator pedal, the gas pedal. If your story is slowing down and you want to move it, put in something that pertains to the catalyst. If you want to slow it down because things are happening too fast in that particular through line, hit it with an inhibitor. If you apply an inhibitor, you can then cut away to another one of the through lines, deal with what you have to, and come back, and the audience will assume, well, it was inhibited, we can pick up where we left off. If you put in a catalyst and you go away to the other through lines, you might even be able to skip a step that you explore in your storytelling because the audience will expect that it will have already proceeded while they were away. They don't necessarily have to see it. If you're staying with the through line, it simply speeds things up or slows them down. For example, you could have a catalyst of openness versus, for example, preconception. If you have openness, it means that every time somebody is a little bit open-minded, when normally they aren't, the story moves ahead. It moves the story onward. It gets rid of the logjam. Inhibitor, let me take a look at here. An inhibitor might be a good one, commitment. Every time things are about to go full swing, somebody's reminded of their commitment that they made. And then because of that, they have to stop and take care of that commitment before things can continue. That's how it forms an inhibitor. That's going to be true in the objective story and in the growth of the relationship between the main and the obstacle. Now, over here with unique ability and critical flaw, unique ability is like catalyst, but with a personal touch. Suppose you have a character who, well, first of all, what is the unique ability for the main character versus the obstacle character? They're a little different. For main character, it means that's what makes this character uniquely able to potentially resolve all of the story's problems. Some quality associated with them. It doesn't have to be a quality that they exhibit, but it can be that it comes with them, like whether they're very, very rich, or whether they happen to sneeze every time they get angry. As long as it turns out to be something that is uniquely theirs, no other character has it, and it's exactly what's required to allow the goal to be achieved. While it's the protagonist who will actually achieve the goal or not, they have to break down the door. But it's the main character and their unique ability that holds the key. Main character holds the key, unique ability is the key that allows the protagonist to either succeed or not, depending on whether the main character can bring about using that key, the unique ability. And they'll do that by choosing to change or remain steadfast. That will then allow them to play that card at the appropriate time if they make the right choice. The obstacle character's unique ability needs to be described in your story as the quality that makes the obstacle character uniquely able to bring the main character to a point of change, to a point of considering changing. Whether or not they change or not, that's a different story, that's a different issue. But the quality that allows, imbues, or enables the obstacle character with the power to bring the main character to a point where they must change or not, to strip away everything, that is the unique ability at work for the obstacle character. Critical flaw, it is the characteristic that screws up the main character every time they might have solved the problem. For example, how many times have you seen a father who's discussing something with his son, and the father's a little overbearing, and the kid doesn't listen a little bit, but they come to terms and the father says, yeah, I guess we do have some common ground. I guess things could work out, and I can give you a little more tolerance on this and that, but please, just cut your hair, or something like that. You know, get a job, whatever. If they say that, then at that point they have undermined what they were about to succeed with. And a critical flaw can either be what prevents them from using their unique ability, or it can be what undermines their unique ability just before it has a chance to actually resolve the story's problems. And you sit there saying, with unique ability, you say, if only they would just do this. With critical flaw, you say, oh, if only they hadn't done that. Well, for the obstacle character, the critical flaw is what screws up their impact. Unique ability is what gives them a unique impact on the main character. Critical flaw is what prevents it from being an irresistible impact. And again, it can occur before they have their unique ability impact on the main character, or can undermine it after they've had an impact that would have totally convinced the main character of their point of view of this alternative paradigm. The critical flaw comes in and undoes all that good. These are the story points we need to deal with. And finally, benchmark, the last one. Benchmark can be something as simple as subjective story benchmark, let's say about the relationship, how far has it progressed in the subjective story. Let's say there's a father and a son, and the father keeps saying he'll take the son out to the baseball game. And to show him that he really means it, he sends him tickets in express mail every single week. And then he's going to come home and take the son to the game instead of being a traveling salesman. Each week, more tickets arrive. Each week, the dad has to call up and say, sorry, my boss gave me this other thing, I have to go do it. The kid puts the tickets on the windowsill. And the windowsill is like 24 inches long, and it can hold maybe 12 tickets. Scene by scene, act by act, whenever another ticket arrives, the kid puts it up on the windowsill. And we know that when he reaches the end of the windowsill with the last ticket, he's going to lose any belief he has in his father, that his father will ever come through. Now, will his father come through at the last moment or not? We only can guess as an audience, but we will know because once the final piece has been put in place, that has shown us how far the relationship has progressed, how far it's come to arriving at the conclusion whether the relationship will be resolved one way or the other as either working or as being cast asunder. So that's how you would use a benchmark. The windowsill becomes the encoding, windowsill on tickets, for a subjective story benchmark. Okay, well, each of these needs to be turned into real people, places, and things for each one of the through lines. Or, if you've written already, you need to look at what you've done and be able to identify these structural elements in the work you've already done in each of the through lines to find the structure in your story to see if there are any holes, inconsistencies, or missteps. To do that, to get an idea for how you do it, we're going to take a look at the fugitive. We have a number of video clips here. Some of them are a little bit lengthy, but we're going to look at each clip, and after the clip, we're going to look for certain things. So let's take a look at our first clip, and then we're going to discuss if we found certain of these story points illustrated in the clip that we saw. Maybe just illustrated a little bit. Maybe over the course of the story, we get a little bit about the concern that focuses it a little more for us until only at the end of the story do we realize what the concern actually was for that through line. Or a problem that doesn't make itself apparent until later on. Or maybe we get the whole idea given to us on a silver platter, but it's stated once lightly, and it has to be stated a number of times lightly before we really understand the magnitude of the problem. Or maybe we only see one little area of the problem, and we don't see all of its manifestations until the story's over.